towards me, and he wasn't a threat. He wasn't posing a threat at that moment.
And when the vehicle is going away from you, literally trying to drive away from you, they're now a threat?
Yes, when Sebastian and Tyler's pointing firearms at me. As far as what Keyshawn did driving, I have no control of that. But I definitely have control to protect me and my brother's life when two firearms are pointed towards me and my brother.
I want to talk about your great eyesight. You said that by the time you see this vehicle and these guns are being pointed at you, one of them is coming from the front windshield,
Yes, ma'am.
and you say you're sure that was a firearm, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You said the next one was a firearm being held by Tyler through the crack of the door on the driver's side passenger.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So you're shooting at Tyler or you're shooting at Sebastian?
I'm shooting to get them away from me. So as far as who it was going at, I have no control of that. I'm not a marksman shooter. I definitely felt like that was the time and moment to do what I had to do to make sure they left.
So Rudolph, you said you're shooting so they get away from you. They're getting away from you. Why are you shooting?
Because they're pointing firearms at me. This is the exact reason why I was shooting.
Why are you so far down the road from where the fight happened with Daryl? Why? Isn't it because you were pursuing them?
No,
You pursued them down there, and then when you saw that they were getting away, you shot at them, right?
no, ma'am.
How did you get down there? Why are you down there? That's not your house.
My brother was down the street. That's the exact reason why I was down there.
Want the easel?
Mr. Rudolph, we're going to have you step down, if you don't mind.
Watch
No.
your step. Yeah, thank you. Probably both use pointers. So neither of you blocks the view of the jury. Where's the other point? Thank you. Perfect.
Can you show me where you live on the map?
Right here.
So that's the marker with the red thing sitting over it, right? 550 T Drive.
Yes, ma'am.
And your testimony is that this fight is happening with Daryl where?
Right in this area.
Okay. So that's right before you get to Sable Palm Drive. Is that what it's called? That's
Right in this area. So
the intersection in the roadway. Before you fully clear Sable Palm, right?
correct.
And that vehicle, the car, is parked where?
Right here. Like right here.
That's your recollection?
That's my recollection.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So while the clerk is helping me find that, just remind us again where you believe Daryl was.
Right here. The intersection of Redwood and Sable.
All right. Now, would it surprise you that everybody else testified that he was up here? I asked if the witness was surprised that everybody else testified that he was further up.
What's the objection? Overruled. Go ahead.
That black X's on the board,
Yes, ma'am.
all right? That's about where the fight allegedly happened, right?
No, not what I recall.
Okay. Whereabouts were the casings found, you think?
This area.
You think they were found at the intersection right there?
Yes, ma'am. Probably further south. I don't know.
For the record, this one is States 1B. I'm going to hand it to you, Mr. Rudolph, because it's much smaller, okay? You'd agree that on there are markers about where the shooting scene is, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And tell me where on this map it is.
This area.
Further down, away from the intersection, right?
Ma'am.
How'd you get down there? Why did you go down there?
My brother was down here.
Brother was not down there. You just testified.
Ma'am, I can't be precise on exactly where the exact spot was, but I'm telling you, he was down here closer to their car. That's my testimony.
Thank you so much. You can return to your seat. I want to talk to you about the threat that you perceived when you ran into your house and selected the assault rifle.
Yes.
I don't mind moving it, Judge.
Go ahead and help.
Thank you. And actually, we're going to be flipping to States 33, if you don't mind, while you're still there. All right. Let's angle this a little bit. And if you could restart the video. Can you see the screen, Mr. Rudolph? Actually, Judge, can we try the lights? I think that might help us.
I can see the screen now.
All right, wonderful. Okay. One person that night had their hoodie up, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That was Keyshawn.
Yes, ma'am.
See the person in the corner here with their hoodie up?
Ma'am.
All right, so that would be Keyshawn, right?
Right.
Okay, if you could play. Pause. At the time you go into this residence, it doesn't appear that anybody has any firearms out. Do you know why that is?
I can't see you right now.
Can we go back so Mr. Rudolph can see the full video, please? Pause. So we know Keyshawn has walked off screen at this point. Your mom, this is your mom with her phone in her hand, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And then there are several men walking in front of her. If we could put it back so Mr. Rudolph can see from the beginning again. And you tell me who you see with the firearm in their hand when you're entering that house.
Wait, you want me to answer right now? I thought you was going to play the video.
Yes, play, please. Pause. You see anybody with a firearm out there?
My video, no?
Doesn't even look like anybody's fighting out there.
No, ma'am.
So why are you going in your house
Go
for
ahead.
your firearm?
I look full of firearm.
Okay. And I want to back up in time. And Judge, if we could have the lights restored a little bit. You told us that at the time of this incident, you had two firearms, right?
Yes, ma'am.
One of them is a 6R that's sitting in front of you right there, right? The bigger gun.
Yes, ma'am.
And that's not the gun you would conceal carry around with you, right?
No, not on my person when I'm like leaving the house. No, ma'am.
Would make more sense that it's the handgun than the Herstal.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that's the one you were used to how it handled and carried it around more frequently.
Yes, ma'am.
Why didn't you pick that gun that night?
Like I said in my direct, it was the nearest thing to me, which was my Sig Sawyer.
Right. You said on direct that the 6R was kept in a bag, right?
Yes, ma'am.
That bag wasn't open, right?
I can't recall if it was open or it wasn't.
And we saw the photographs of your bedroom. It's not a very large bedroom, right?
Correct?
And you said that the handgun was in the dresser, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you could have grabbed the handgun. You would agree.
Yes, I could have. I agree.
You elected to grab the assault rifle. Why?
It was the nearest thing to me. That's why I grabbed it.
Okay. So at this point in the video, when you've come back out with the firearm in your hand and there's no fighting happening at that point, you would agree with that, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Nobody has a gun in their hand, at least not that we can see, right?
Correct.
And the threat is gone, right?
I wouldn't necessarily say the threat is gone because the guy that I just seen pull the firearm out before I had even went inside my house is right near my mom.
All right, let me back up the video and talk a little bit about where Mr. Robinson is in relation to your mom. You would agree that this is your mom
Yes, ma'am.
and that is Mr. Robinson.
Possibly, I can't tell if that was him right there.
And you just ran into the house through this door, right?
Yes, ma'am.
You'd also agree this is you sliding after exiting with the assault rifle,
Yes, ma'am.
and that is still your mom,
Ma'am.
and there's no one next to her.
From that video, I don't see any other figures. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So the threat, at least that you could perceive right here, is not there, right?
Not near my mom that very second.
All right. So then you're talking about, must be this part,
Yes, ma'am.
where the person without the shirt that we can see over here, Tyler, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And this is your mom going towards Tyler, right?
Yes, ma'am.
She's not running away from him.
No.
He does not appear to see him as a threat based on that video.
I mean, I can't speak on my mom. I don't.
All right, let's watch it again and see what she does towards him. You would agree from that clip, we can clearly see your mother was away from Mr. Robinson and then ran towards Mr. Robinson, correct?
She probably ran towards me. I don't know if she was running towards Mr. Robinson.
Well, that's because you're running to Mr. Robinson, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So in order to get closer to you, she has to go closer to Mr. Robinson.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. At that point, that's your mother's words saying, "Come on, Travis, please, please," right?
Yes, ma'am.
And she's saying that because you have now escalated a fist fight to bring out an assault rifle.
Sustained.
Why do you think? Actually, let me rephrase that, Judge. When your mother is saying that to you, what are you thinking?
What am I thinking?
Yes, because you're not looking down the road yet. Your focus is clearly Mr. Robinson. What are you thinking when she's yelling at you? Stop, please stop.
I'm thinking my mom don't know what I just seen.
You haven't seen anything yet. You ran directly to Mr. Robinson.
My mom, I'm thinking my mom don't know what I just seen for me to even go inside the house.
Oh, you mean the firearm that we didn't see? Okay.
Right.
So then your focus now, you would agree, is Mr. Robinson, and your mother is standing over there by the two of you, right?
Yes.
Trying to get you to go back in the house with a firearm.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You do not do that. You instead head down Redwood, right?
Yes, ma'am.
To the area that you believe is where your brother was.
Yes, ma'am.
By the time you get there, did your brother run off and go closer to the car? Was he doing stupid things like what he did with Tyler, following people that are running away with firearms?
No, ma'am.
So then you should have been by the intersection up there by Sable Palm Drive.
Correct.
And that's where you stayed.
Confused on your question.
It's not confusing. That's where you stayed, right? By Sable Palm Drive, right?
I definitely got in front of my brother during the time of this incident because, like I said, it appeared that the car was coming towards me. So I felt like I was the only one that was protected for me and my brother. So I got in front of my brother.
All right. Permission to utilize states 3.
What is it?
One of the firearms, Judge.
Right. Okay. Utilize it meaning what? You need gloves or no?
I'm going to touch it, Judge, just the box. Mr. Rudolph, you would agree this is the firearm you had in your hand at the time, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And even bigger and heavier than this because you had 100 rounds in that double barrel drum, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you see your brother at Sable Palm Drive, and you run down there, and everybody has ran and left him back to the car, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But you keep pursuing them. That is how you got by the car, right?
So keep that, put that down.
Is it scary, Judge?
Flip it around so the muzzle's pointing towards me, not out there towards the jury. All right? Thank you. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right, Mr. Rudolph?
No, I disagree.
So you're saying from the several feet that you were away, you could see into that dark car that didn't have any lights on.
Yes, ma'am.
You could see clearly that guns were being pointed to you at you from a crack in a door over on the other side from where you're looking,
Yes, ma'am.
and from a windshield
Yes, ma'am.
in a tinted vehicle.
I don't know if it was tinted, but I definitely seen two firearms. Without a question.
And as you're shooting, this is not a mistake, right? You did that on purpose, right?
I did it in reaction of their actions, which was pointing firearms at me and my brother.
That was not my question. Did you do it on purpose or was it a mistake?
I definitely did it on purpose.
Okay, you can own it.
Yeah.
All right. And you did that, pointing it at them and firing, even though nobody shot at you, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you claimed you saw a gun in that dark car,
Yes, ma'am. Two guns.
even though you had seen no other guns.
Seen two guns.
Not before that point had you seen guns.
I only seen one gun before that point.
The gun that you said magically disappeared when you came out.
I didn't say it magically just
Sustain.
I want to back up to when you first heard the knocks on the door. You remember that?
Yes, ma'am.
And you were laying in your room with your shirt off, right?
Yes, ma'am.
And when you came to the door, you also had your shirt off, right?
Yes, ma'am.
But that wasn't because you were being aggressive to anybody, right?
That's correct. I was about to go to sleep.
But nobody should have perceived you at the time you came through the door as aggression, right? Even though you had your shirt off.
That's correct.
Okay. Because you came outside, according to you, to mediate.
Yes, ma'am.
And Keyshawn wasn't just some stranger, right, to you?
Correct.
We can see from the text messages you exchanged gifts. This was your, quote, little brother, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you could have a conversation with him.
Yes, ma'am.
How is it that if your phone is broken, you rejected his calls, one of the six?
I didn't reject nobody's call.
So you're fighting with what the phone records say?
Yes, ma'am, because I can't answer the phone if my whole screen is cracked. So I disagree with what those phone records say.
Sort of like you're fighting with whether or not Dominique was your girlfriend,
She wasn't my girlfriend.
or whether or not you cheated on her.
I didn't cheat her on her if she's not my girlfriend.
I want to talk about that call Dominique made to Kyla that evening. Why was she making that call?
Stay.
That you would know what he was asked to do.
What's the question?
It was a FaceTime call in front of Mr. Rudolph to the young woman allegedly he was cheating with. So I asked, why was that call being made? He would know, if he knows.
If you know, you may answer.
Well, it wasn't cheating, but she made the call looking for answers pretty much.
And so you had to convince her then, based on that conversation, that you weren't in fact cheating, right?
It wasn't cheating, but she was looking for answers that she didn't get anything out of.
And she didn't believe you.
No, she didn't.
She thought you were still cheating.
If that's what you want to call it, but it wasn't cheating.
And you were cheating, weren't you, Mr. Rudolph?
No, ma'am. I'm
You sure about that?
At that time, I was a single man.
Ah, so you're not in a relationship and you're free to screw whoever you want,
Stay.
right? I didn't ask that question before, Judge.
Stay.
Mr. Rudolph, isn't it true that you had sex with someone else and recorded it and saved a video of that from March 29th of 2021?
Come on up, folks. Somebody wanted a break. I don't know how much. Well, come on up. Floyd, silent break. jury. We've only got a couple more minutes. Okay, go ahead.
Mr. Rudolph, as the vehicle is driving away, you realize that you kept shooting even after it was gone?
During the time, though. But
So you start shooting after it moved, as we've established, right?
yes, ma'am.
And then even as it's going away, you're still shooting into it, right?
Yes, I fired a couple rounds.
And you just kept going. It's not a couple, it's 339, right?
39. That's in the process of firearms. So
Right. And you gave an interview about this particular topic. Do you recall that?
yes, ma'am.
Time you were asked by the reporter, why 39 shots? Do you recall that?
Yes, ma'am.
You said you had quick reflexes.
Yes, ma'am.
Not you needed to neutralize the threat, you had quick reflexes.
I wasn't said kept shooting until I wasn't impressed.
They're driving away from you, trying everything to get away from you. You still thought you needed to neutralize what threat?
I disagree with you that you're trying to get away from me because I don't see how you're trying to get away from someone and you're pointing fire. Once again, I can't control what Sean did as a driver, but I know what I see. That was two firearms pointing at me and my brother. So
And your brother is behind you, right?
yes, I believe it was mine.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Sorry, I believe it was mine. Yes, I right of
And your mom's in the house, right?
my knowledge. Yes.
So this whole time you're shooting into the car, they're certainly in no immediate danger.
Excuse me, can you repeat that?
Brother and your mom are certainly in no immediate danger.
Me and my brother was in the immediate danger. He was right there, right next to me.
The car's going away and you're still firing into it.
There's firearms pointed at us.
How could you see that? It's tinted windows and it's away from you now, driving away from you.
I seen it while their car was faced towards us.
And then at the end of all this shooting, you keep walking down the road. You saw that in the video, right?
Yes, ma'am.
With your firearm.
Yes, ma'am.
Why didn't you just go home? Why didn't you just go home when you saw that Daryl was fine? The fight had ended. Why didn't you just go home?
Because it appeared that their car was heading towards me and my brother with no lights on. So that's already raising suspicion. And then in the midst of that, they pointed firearms at me and my brothers.
You can clearly see that vehicle is not going towards you, right?
From that video,
Nothing further.
All right, folks, as I promised, we'll take a 15-minute break. Be back at 4 o'clock, please. It's a little longer than 15 minutes. You've heard a lot, but you still have redirect examination. I don't know how long that'll be. Nevertheless, keep an open mind. Um, uh, no research, no discussion. If you happen to run into us, well, you're not going to. You're going to stay back in the jury room. Uh, at least most of you are. But if somebody has to go outside, that would be